King Sejong the Great is celebrated as one of Korea's greatest minds, the legendary inventor of the alphabet and a brilliant monarch. But that's not the full story. He never should have been king. This is the unseen side of his destiny, a tale of family betrayal, a rebellious older brother, and a throne no one asked for. The story of how a kingdom was saved in the shadows, not in the light.
You stand on the polished stone of a quiet Joseon courtyard. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of charcoal smoke and old wood. There is a sense of immense calm here, but beneath the surface, a quiet tension hums. The year is 1418, and the throne of Joseon is up for grabs. You are a silent observer, a phantom presence in the palace, watching as a family drama unfolds that will shape a nation for centuries. The reigning monarch, King Sejong, is a man of legendary ferocity. He's the kind of guy who wouldn't just solve a problem, he'd solve it with a sword, and then make sure the sword was perfectly polished afterward. He has 3 sons, and traditionally, the eldest, Prince Young, is the heir apparent. But Young, a man you might describe as having a rebellious spirit, or if you're feeling less charitable, a severe allergy to responsibility, seems to be going out of his way to prove he is unfit to rule. He spends his time hunting, drinking, and generally avoiding the weighty matters of state. It's a performance so theatrical, you can almost see the "do not make me king" sign he's holding up. It's hard to imagine in a modern context someone so eager to fail a job interview, especially for the top job in the land. Then there is the second brother, Prince Hyeoryong. He is of a different cloth entirely. Instead of chasing earthly power, his passion lies in the serene embrace of Buddhism, a path his father, King Sejong, actively discourages. It is a quiet, profound rebellion, not of a sword, but of the spirit. He spends his days in temples, studying scripture, and embracing a life of quiet contemplation. It is almost as if both brothers are working in concert to make themselves as unpalatable as possible to their father and the court. And then there is you, Prince Chung-young, the 3rd son. You are quiet, you are bookish, you are in every measurable way the opposite of the kind of leader your father once was. You'd rather spend your nights poring over a new star chart than navigating the viperous politics of the court. Historians still debate whether the 2 older brothers' behavior was a genuine rejection of the throne or a deliberate, calculated act. They argue that Young and Hyeoryong may have recognized their brother's superior intellect and quiet strength, believing that Chung-young, a man of peace and wisdom, was truly the one meant to lead. It is a theory that paints their seemingly selfish acts in a new, profoundly selfless light, a tragic and beautiful sacrifice. And so, King Sejong, in a move that shocks the court but likely doesn't surprise you, removes his 2 older sons from the line of succession. In their place, he installs you, the gentle scholar, the 3rd son, as the crown prince. You are now the heir to a kingdom forged in blood, a world you never asked for, a destiny you never sought. It is a moment that redefines the future of Joseon, not with a clash of swords, but with the quiet turning of a page. You are not a warrior, but your mind is a weapon. You are not a tyrant, but your compassion will become your greatest strength. As you sit in your new chambers, the silence of the night feels different. It is no longer the quiet of a scholar's sanctuary, but the deafening hush of a king's solitude. The weight of an entire nation rests on your shoulders, and you can only hope that the quiet strength you have cultivated in the shadows will be enough to guide you through the storms to come. You are now the crown prince. Your day's a whirlwind of state affairs, political maneuvering, and royal ceremonies. Yet, in the quiet solitude of your study, you find your true self. The weight of the crown may be heavy, but the true burden is the quiet knowledge of your people's struggles. The Joseon Dynasty, despite its grandeur, is a world of hardship. Farmers struggle against unpredictable weather, the common man lacks a voice, and you, a man who once found solace in books, now realize that your knowledge is not a private luxury, but a public responsibility. Let's settle in and imagine this quieter side of your genius, the one not found on any monument. You see, being a scholar king wasn't just a title. It was a tireless pursuit, a kind of unending intellectual marathon. A lot of people think of kings as just sitting on thrones all day, looking regal. The truth is, that was probably only about 10% of the job. The other 90% was reading endless reports and trying to figure out how to make life slightly less terrible for millions of people you'd never meet. And so your love of learning transforms into a passion for a new kind of magic, science. You aren't just a king, you are a scientist on the throne. You gather the finest minds in the kingdom, creating a kind of Joseon-era think tank in the Hall of Worthies. Your goals are not military conquests, but practical inventions. One of your first and most famous creations is the rain gauge. It's a simple bronze cylinder, an elegant solution to a massive problem. By meticulously measuring rainfall across the kingdom, you can better predict droughts and floods, helping your farmers survive. It's strange, isn't it, to think that such a simple tool could hold so much power over a nation's fate. Historians still debate whether you, King Sejong, personally designed every one of these inventions, or if you were simply the driving force and patron. But what is not debated is that your name is forever tied to this age of scientific marvel. But your compassion extends beyond mere tools. You realize that your people, the farmers, are the backbone of the nation, yet their knowledge of agriculture is often limited to what is passed down through generations. To a scholar like you, this is a tragedy. So you embark on another project. You commission a comprehensive book on farming techniques, compiling knowledge from various regions and adding your own insights. It's called the Nongsa Jigsaw, or Straight Talk on Farming. This book, written in simple language so that it could be easily understood, becomes a bestseller in the agricultural world of Joseon. It's a testament to your belief that knowledge should not be reserved for the elite, but shared with everyone. And yet, in a cruel twist of fate, you realize that your most valuable tool is useless to the very people it was meant to help. The book is written using complex Chinese characters, a system the vast majority of your population cannot read. The knowledge is there, but a wall stands between it and the people who need it most. It's like writing a self-help book, but for an entire country's economy, and then realizing no one can read it. Your inventions don't stop there. You and your scholars develop a new type of water clock that automatically rings bells to mark the hour, freeing palace workers from the tedious task of monitoring time manually. You refine astronomical charts and create a celestial sphere, a kind of miniature Joseon universe to help your astronomers understand the heavens. This is a side of a king that many would not expect, a ruler who cares more about the precise measurement of rain than the size of his army. The truth is, his army was also quite well equipped and trained, but that's a story for a different kind of history podcast. The point here is that you, King Sejong, are not driven by a thirst for power, but a genuine, aching desire to make the lives of your people better. This is the quiet genius that defines your reign, and it's a burden as heavy as any crown. It is the weight of knowing that with great power comes the responsibility to fix every problem, and to do so with intelligence, compassion, and a lot of late nights with your scholars. The Hall of Worthies, where you once found solace in scholarly pursuits, now feels more like a cage. The books are still there, the scientific instruments glinting in the soft light of the palace, but they offer no comfort against the growing weight in your chest. You're no longer just a scholar, you are a king, and a king's power is a heavy, double-edged sword. It can build a nation, but it can also inflict unimaginable pain, especially on those closest to you. We've talked about your triumphs, the books, the science, but now, let's venture into the quiet sorrow that defined your later years. It's a side of King Sejong that rarely makes it into the textbooks, the one that deals with human grief and terrible, soul-crushing compromises. It's the kind of thing you just don't see on a royal family Christmas card. Your body, once a tireless engine of intellect, begins to fail. You are plagued by various ailments, diabetes, gout, and vision problems, likely a result of your relentless work ethic. Your long hours of study, your sleepless nights poring over documents have taken a physical toll. You are a king whose greatest enemy is not a foreign army, but your own failing health. Imagine, in a world without modern medicine, the constant gnawing discomfort of gout in your foot while you are expected to rule an entire nation. It's like trying to run a marathon in a pair of shoes that are 3 sizes too small, except the marathon is your entire life and the shoes are your own body. But the physical pain is nothing compared to the emotional anguish of your political decisions. To maintain peace with the mighty Ming Dynasty, your Joseon must pay tribute. This is a well-known fact of the time, but the tribute you are forced to give is not gold or silk. It is people. You must send young, beautiful maidens to the Ming court to serve the emperor. You are a father, a husband, and a man who believes deeply in the dignity of every person. Yet you are forced to participate in this human traffic, knowing that these girls will likely never return home. It is a sacrifice made for the survival of your kingdom, a cold, strategic necessity that tears at your soul. A well-known historical fact, perhaps, but its emotional weight is often forgotten. It's the kind of thing that probably keeps a king up at night, long after the rest of the court has gone to sleep. And then there are the dramas within your own palace walls. Your first son, the Crown Prince Moonjong, faces a series of difficult situations with the wives chosen for him. Historians still debate the exact number of daughters-in-law who were expelled, as official records are vague on the matter. But what is not debated is that you, King Sejong, were forced to banish several women from your own family. The specific charges against them vary, from engaging in illicit relationships to simply not conforming to palace standards. It is an excruciating situation. As a king, you must uphold the moral order of your kingdom, but as a father, you must send a beloved family member into exile. You walk the cold stone corridors of your palace, knowing that you have traded personal happiness for political stability, family bonds for royal protocol. This is the unseen side of a king's life, the pain of a patriarch who must watch his family suffer for the good of his kingdom. It's the kind of thing you can't write a poem about or turn into a statue. It's simply the quiet, unchangeable reality of a king's profound loneliness.
The years pass, as they always do.
carrying away the sorrows and triumphs of a king's life like grains of sand in an hourglass. The gout gnaws at your joints, your vision dims, and the ghosts of difficult decisions, of maidens sent to a foreign land and daughters-in-law sent away from home, linger in the quiet corners of the palace. Your reign, once a storm of tireless intellectual pursuits and political maneuvering, now settles into a calm but weary final chapter. The brilliant mind that once created tools to measure the heavens is now focused on the simple comfort of a warm blanket and the sound of your family outside your window. The question now is not what you accomplished, but what remains. What part of you, the scholar king, lives on? The answer, as you know in your heart, is Hangul. It's a well-known historical fact that this is your most enduring legacy, and for good reason. Before Hangul, the Korean language was written using complex Chinese characters, a system so difficult to master that it was accessible only to the elite scholars and the wealthy. The common people, the farmers and the artisans, were effectively voiceless. You saw this not just as an inconvenience, but as an injustice. The creation of Hangul was an act of profound humanism. You did not just create a script, you created a tool for your people to find their own voice. What many don't realize is the original name for Hangul was Hunminjeongyam, which translates to the proper sounds for the instruction of the people. It's a name that perfectly encapsulates your entire philosophy: to serve the people, to instruct them, and to give them the tools to build their own lives. It's hard to imagine, in a world of instant communication, a society where 99% of people couldn't read their own language. It's a bit like living in a world where every single text message was in Latin. But your legacy is more than just a set of elegant characters. It's an echo of your compassionate spirit. Historians still debate the full extent of your political genius versus your humanism, arguing over whether your policies were brilliant strategy or simply the actions of a profoundly kind man. But perhaps, in the end, they were one and the same. The rain gauges and astronomical charts were not just scientific tools, they were a way to care for your farmers. The new script was not just a linguistic innovation, it was a way to empower your people. You taught a nation not with an iron fist, but with a gentle hand and an open mind. You proved that a king's greatest power is not in his military might or his riches, but in his ability to uplift his people. It's a legacy that has endured for centuries, passed down not in grand monuments, but in the quiet act of every Korean person who writes their name or reads a book. Your time on the throne is now at an end. The palace fades, and the sound of the wind, once a source of solitude, is now a reminder of all the unseen things that shaped your life. The quiet wisdom of your brothers, the pain of your political sacrifices, the late nights spent inventing new ways to help the common man, all of it is part of you, part of the story. And now, you leave it all behind. As you step away from the throne, the silence is not a burden, but a promise. The journey ends here, but the stories, the quiet legacies, continue to live on in the hearts of a people whose voices you helped to unlock. The sun sets over Joseon, casting a long, gentle shadow. And in that shadow, you can finally find your peace.
And so, our journey through the unseen side of King Sejong comes to a close. What surprised you the most? Leave your comment below. History is made of more than just dates and names. It's made of people, of passions, and of secrets. If you were moved by Sejong's story, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next journey. The history continues. Your curiosity does too.